Go ahead and get into our power rankings for this week. Get into who's receiving votes. These aren't all the people who have received votes, but they are the people and the teams that have received the most votes for the power rankings from us and the other guys in the office behind the scenes. Got Mid Buchanan. Jacob, you advocated very hard for Mid Buchanan this week.
I've been high on him. I've been high on him for a few weeks now. Listen, you do not get to 7-0 at this point in the season if you're not somewhat legit. Because shaky teams lose to shaky teams all the time. So I'm done. We're not week 3 anymore. We're not week 4. Being undefeated matters. I just don't love their strength of schedule, which is why they're still receiving votes. But this is the tip of the cap to them because they are still undefeated against the teams they have played.
And for the very opposite reason of the actual strength of schedule, I have Webb City there receiving votes. I've advocated for them all year long. Actually got them picked this week in a very big game against Carthage. They've only lost 2. They lost to Nixa, in a really tough fought game. They only lost by 8 there. Then they turned around and lost to Republic, who could have been on the receiving end of a tough call, controversial call this week. Republic could very well be 6-1, but they're 5-2. Tough round robin you got there. Really,
chalk it up.
Really hard 3 games. Not going to say a whole lot more about that call.
No.
Enough has been said in the comments, I think. Go ahead and let us know what you think. We love to hear it. We'll love to talk about it, but not going to give it much more time on this show. Lift for Life is the last team that we're going to mention in receiving votes. Another team who advocated pretty hard for.
Yeah. The reflection of their ranking is going to be an indictment of the score they had against Father Tolton. 7-point victory against a similar class unranked opponent is not going to get her done. Did not dink them for that much after the SLU loss. 2-point SLU loss is not going to, as a Class 3 school, is going to hurt you. It's going to be hard, though, this week when CBC plays SLU and then potentially blows them out. Live for Life still has the strength of schedule factoring in at the end with a trip to a Class 6 ranked Helias.
I think that's going to tell us a lot about both of those teams.
Both of those
Looking
teams
forward
for
to
sure.
it. Live for Life has lost to their harder opponents, not blown out some mediocre opponents. And on the other side of that, you have Helias, who has not really played much competition at all, though some of their wins have started to look better as the season's progressed. And number 12, we got a team up into the rankings for the first time all year. Well-deserved. Thayer, Fire, however
higher.
Say it.
They're higher in the rankings. That's where they are. And this is our third-ranked Class 1 team in our top 12. Pretty simple, I think, for some obvious reasons. Scheduling, margin of victory, a couple things that go into factor. Obviously, I don't think the margin between them, Marionville, and Tipton is necessarily massive. I don't think it's this big breakdown, but I think that there are some obvious things in both of those two schedules which give them an advantage over Fire, which is why we kind of put them at 12. But once again, 7-0, hard to argue with. Absolutely deserve the flowers and to be ranked.
And then you got at 11 the other Class 1 team, one of the others that we have ranked. It's actually Marionville. They've only lost to a really, really, really good Arkansas school that they were in that game for a little bit.
Yes.
I think they kind of got outclassed there. Southside Charter, really good school this year. That's the only team they've lost to. Other than that, they've really been putting it on teams. They really haven't left much to question. Now, they do have an Ash Grove game this week that will, I think, say even more about who Marionville really is. 5-1 Ash Grove. Looking forward to seeing that. I think that will be a truth teller.
Yeah, very much so, and I think we're in a very similar situation with our next ranked team, which is Helias. Once again, 7-0. Kind of hurts their rankings overall, being in a new class for 1, being in a weaker conference for 2, not having as many out-of-conference opportunities, and then not necessarily scheduling up. The Hannibal win now, as you kind of alluded to, we kind of dinked him for it, I think, at the beginning of the year. Now Hannibal has kind of figured it out, and then obviously Live for Life. So that's 2 state-ranked teams they do have scheduled in their out-of-conference run. But with the Rockbridge game being closer, and then, I mean, you got Smith Cotton now. it's hard to see a whole lot of growth. They're trailing in their district standings by a point and some change. That's going to be difficult to overcome. Obviously, we just saw one of their district opponents this week do really good. So it's really, Helias is in a tough place, but I think we'll see a lot. I think they go handle business this week and then go play a super athletic Lift for Life team. They'll be ready for districts.
I think so. Like you said, Hannibal wins looking better. Hickman wins looking better as the weeks go on. Hickman is playing the same schedule as them. The only loss that they've had is to Helias. You really want to see Rockbridge be better than what they are for them to play that close. But we'll move on to Carthage, our number 9 ranked team this week in our pound-for-pound power rankings.
Largest jump of the week, I believe.
Yes, they are up 5 spots from last week. The only loss they've had on their schedule is Nixa, and that's a top 5 team that we've had in our pound-for-pound all year. It's a Class 6 team. You can ask any media outlet. Nixa is ranked 1, 2, or 3 in Class 6. If they're not, just disqualify them from any sort of rankings or any validity there. Nixa.
What about Max Preps? I thought Max Preps
I don't even want to talk about Max Preps.
I thought Max Preps was the place we go to for rankings.
But Carthage goes into Nixa and really beats Nixa for 2.5 quarters. Nixa eventually does outclass them, as they have done to every opponent they played this year. Carthage may be a beneficiary.
Yes.
Like I said this week earlier, of the controversial call. Bang, bang, live time. Anyone can watch the video and decide what they want to decide. It's a tough game to officiate. Might be the hardest game to officiate out of any sport out there. Officiating a football game is really tough to do. Probably got the call wrong. I'll let the comments decide.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I didn't have the angle that the guy had on it. It's a tough call to make. We'll let everyone else.
And to be fair, I think we should summarize this, and I think the Republic coach would agree with me. If you're going to let a game get decided by one play,
yes,
that's not the position you want to be in as a team either. So,
nope.
To be fair, the Carthage took advantage of the situation and won the game.
And you can probably look at 2 or 3 calls that benefited Republic in that game a lot more than they benefited Carthage. As any game on any level, if we want to put the officials under a microscope and say this could have happened if this call wouldn't have happened, yada yada yada, momentum this, bad call that. At the end of the day, if you want to win a football game, go win the football game.
Yeah, you're going to have to overcome some adversity.
Yeah, you got to. That's the game of football.
And Carthage, like you said, Carthage, we watched the Carthage game against Nixa. We watched the Republic game against Nixa. Carthage looked a lot more comfortable at playing at that level than Republic did at any point in time. So I think Carthage has a lot of rounding out to figure out, and I think this week's a great opportunity to do it, and we can see them climb the rankings even higher after this week.
I agree. And then they still had to go make plays. They still had to make the field goal.
They still had to go kick a massive field goal at the high school level, so I don't want to hear anything about being given a game.
So we have Blue Spring South actually moving up a spot as well and landing at number 8. We did get to see that game as we recapped earlier in this video. Good win over a solid Liberty team that's only lost 1 game now to them. Really good win last week over a Lee Summit North team that is talented year in and year out. Blue Spring South really making a push to be ranked top 3 in that Class 6, at least top 5. I like the way they've looked. I like the way they beat teams, beat good teams, beat bad teams. Talented, great quarterback, great offensive line. I want to see them continue to grow. They have a couple teams. They have a Blue Springs game this week. That's going to be huge for district standings. And then they round the season out at the end against a team that they should beat. And then we'll see what Blue Springs South does going into the playoffs. Number 7.
Jace. Wait, Blue Spring South just got a state-ranked win? They're not in the top 7? Why is that?
I think once you start talking about 7 and higher here on this list, you really start to stack the state wins. Case in point, number 7 is
Tipton. That's the best team in Class 1. And they certainly have the best resume in Class 1. And I'll clarify that then and say that their loss, state-ranked loss to a healthy Lamar when Lamar was ranked top 3 in their class. They've got state-ranked wins above classes, and they're outscoring their opponents the last 2 games by almost 65 points a game. So, when people start talking about who knows ball or what, Chase, our top 7 might be right, and it might have been right for about the last 4 or 5 weeks when no one believed in us because we got hate for the Liberty comments for not putting Liberty. We knew. We knew. We looked at it. We analyzed it. Tipton is exactly where they are. Who would have thought that the team that scored 63 and 70 in the first 2 halves of the last 2 games? Guys, we've been there. We know that. We know what it is, and it's hard to see movement. And that's exactly the same reason why Tipton's where they are, is the same reason why 6 is who it is.
Seneca.
Seneca, how are they 6?
Because the 5 teams above them are incredible, but let's get into how good they are.
Yeah, Seneca. I mean,
Seneca, hell of a season, historic season for their program last year, just to turn around and follow it up with what might even be a better season so far than they were even able to put together last year, and they have a clear path to the state championship this year.
I made a comment a week ago about Seneca, whether or not I would pick Seneca to win state, and I picked Live for Life, and I think after watching Live for Life, because I clarified in the video that it was at that time with their existing resumes, with two more weeks of consistency, I think I'm flipping bandwagons again. I think I'm going back to Seneca. It's hard to pick against Seneca.
I think you're looking at Seneca, who has ranked wins over Nevada. They got a ranked win over Carl Junction and a ranked win at McDonald County. Carl Junction, McDonald County are back-to-back weeks against 2 really good teams. They're going to go to East Newton, wipe the floor there, and then they actually finish at Lamar. Very good chance that they go ahead and round out this Class 3 schedule.
Which I would have loved to see a Lamar Seneca
when Lamar was fully healthy.
Yeah, I would love to see it. So that's a little sad. I think that was Seneca's opportunity to get back into the top 3.
You do have to believe that Lamar is still a very solid opponent with that coach, with that culture that they have. They will always be a tough out.
Yes.
I would like to think even if you beat Lamar pretty bad, it's going to be a tough game. You're going to get hit, and they're going to do their job, and it's never an easy win when you go to Lamar.
Well, football plays 22 guys and 22 positions, and they got 21 that are still rolling. So with that, I mean, what could be better than Seneca?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because a team that has been putting Missouri football on the map this year, Midwest football on the map, nationally, is CBC. And I think the only thing that's holding them back at this point is it's hard for us to find where they deserve to be ranked, because they have been playing these national opponents, and they haven't played very many Missouri opponents. Of course, they had a great Missouri win this week against a team that isn't really all that impressive this year. But CBC is going to play SLU this week, and SLU has played a much more Missouri schedule. We'll be able to really figure out where they deserve to be, I think, after this week. I think if they go in and they kick SLU's butt, everyone's asking, what more does CBC need to do than beat nationally ranked opponents? This is a Missouri pound-for-pound power ranking system. It's really hard to rank them when we don't know what these teams would be doing against other Missouri schools. That's why CBC, if you're asking what you need to do to be ranked higher, go beat SLU. Go beat SLU bad. And I think you'll see yourselves jump up. It's going to be hard to jump up past where they're at, but they probably could.
With a straight face, we're going to have a conversation about beating a 3-loss Class 4 team by the same margin that the number 4 ranked team in our pound-for-pound schedule, Nixa, beat a Class 6 school.
Back-to-back weeks.
In back-to-back weeks. So don't come here with the CBC talk following the win they just had this week. I think what Jace is saying clearly is that there is an opportunity for CBC to climb our rankings. We're not going to reward anyone for climbing rankings based on what a pundit who watched a game says about whatever. And if your excuse is, well, look at Max Preps and what Max Preps has this team ranked nationally. Listen, guys, if this is a PSA to anyone who needs to hear it. If you were looking at Max Prep's auto-generated rankings, you don't know ball.
They're not at any games, by the way, either.
No.
They're looking at box scores and people who are recruits.
Mind you, the same Max Preps that has Nevada as a top 10 consensus team in the state of Missouri, and Nixa wasn't even in the top 25.
That's
okay?
all. That's all I need.
What are we? And then you're gonna show me what a team in Georgia is ranked nationally when I just saw what they're ranking teams that we've gone and seen play, and I'm supposed to, with no reservations, believe that the transitive property of this team only lost to this team, and this team beat the number 1 team. So if we do the math over here, this team's actually ranked 187th in the... Guys, we're playing mental gymnastics at this point. Let's just stop. This is mental gymnastics.
I want to reiterate. I'm glad CBC is putting belt to other teams.
Yeah, that's
from
not the
other
issue. It's
states,
just
but we got to know. We got to see a little
metrics.
bit more. We got to see them play some Missouri teams, and they're going to. And I think we'll have a little bit better idea, especially after this week, playing a really good SLU team. And if you beat SLU really bad, then you deserve to maybe be a little bit higher, and you'll probably see that happen.
Yeah.
But you got to jump. Number 4, Nixa, like you just said, who's been having what I think is the toughest schedule out of anybody in the state of Missouri. I mean, they've played Webb City. Even the bad teams, the quote-unquote bad teams that you've seen Nixa play, I mean, you're seeing them beat teams like Lebanon. You're seeing
by
them
a margin, which Lebanon I fully believe will be a Class 5 district champion.
You're seeing them play teams like
beating up
Joplin.
other Class 6 schools like Joplin.
Kickapoo, Waynesville. Granted, they haven't won any games.
The COC is the hardest conference in the state. That's the takeaway from this.
Yeah.
Nixa, find me another. Let's summarize this. Find me another conference that has 3 top 5 Class 5 schools in it. I think one of the last times that happened was 2019 Ozark Conference that had West Plains, Camdenton, Lebanon all in the top 4 at one point.
Well, you had Rolla in there too. The Central Ozark Conference, the OC, historically great football, and they always make deep runs. The problem is with that conference is they're also in each other's districts.
Yes.
And they eat each other in district play.
Yep.
And if you don't believe us, we'll do a deep dive on that.
I was going to say, there's more state championships in that district, or in that conference rather, the now combined, if we even keep some of the older OC teams and put them in the COC, there's more state championships there than anywhere else in the state, and there's a reason why.
Name a better conference in the state of Missouri than the OC or the COC.
It's combined now, so
we
COC
will argue
now.
In the comments about that. We will get down and dirty in the comments about that. But Nix is playing the hardest schedule in the state of Missouri, and they've dominated it. I don't know what else you need to see. I don't know what else you need to see to keep them at 4. I say that, and then we look at our top 3.
You can probably sort these any ways you want to, but we'll give you the reason. I think we're in all agreement on who 1 is. I don't think I wouldn't argue 1 really with anyone, but 2 and 3 are probably somewhat of a toss-up. 3, Platte County still. We've talked about it. Rocco, I mean, they're not going to get docked when you're going and scoring 50 points in the first quarter, because we're not even talking about opponent strength or anything at this point. It doesn't matter what your opponent's strength is. They're just.
I think the biggest argument about it is you don't get to see them tested, so we don't know what their true DNA is because no one has tested them.
And we say that, but they've still got 2 state-ranked wins, and still Smithville and Green Valley, and
no one's taking them to the wire, and there's a good chance that no one does in their whole schedule all the way throughout the state run.
If state is anything like this, I mean, they might not have a game within 30 points of the season,
and that would be something to see. Then you're talking about they might be the best team ever in the state of Missouri.
Yeah,
most dominant.
There's a really truth to that, but there's a reason why I think we put Kearney at 2. We saw them play. the thing that they have on their resume that Platte doesn't, a Class 6 state-ranked win, and also while being a Class 4 team. So not only do Kearney and Platte County share the same state-ranked wins between Smithville and Platte and Green Valley, but Kearney's out-of-conference game went up to North Kansas City. Dominant win over a Class 6 top 10 team. That if there's the margin, I think, of difference between Platte County and Kearney's about this big, and I would say that is the margin.
And it rests there, and that is the pound for pound. Because I do believe in my heart of hearts that Platte County would go beat a Kearney, but Kearney is 4A.
Yes.
Platte County is 5A. That is the metric in which we are ranking these teams, and that's why we got Blair Oaks at 1.
For very obvious reasons, too.
Because they are a Class 2 team that I just got to pull up this schedule, man. There's
kicks off the season with a state-ranked win over Maryville.
Maryville, by the way, Class 3.
Class 3 state-ranked win over Maryville, who's undefeated since. Turns around in week 2, number 1 team in Class 4, blowout. Reigning state champions in Class 4, blowout.
Oh, the Maryville win was a blowout as well. We're talking 42-14 against Maryville, 44-26 against Lutheran North, and there's two huge plays there at the end of the game that really made that team look that game look a lot closer.
So that's how they started the season.
Then they traveled to Osage, and they beat another Class 3 ranked team. Osage is 5-2, and they put belt to Osage, 42-6. Then to California. They beat California in the first half, 65-0.
Remind me here, didn't they take a trip to Boonville?
Oh, yeah, right after that. And they beat Boonville, another ranked team in Class 3, go up a class again, beat them 55-0.
I don't think there is a schedule we could handcraft that epitomizes what pound for pound means more than Blair Oaks' schedule. Okay? I think on a strength rating, objectively, Nixa has the hardest schedule. I think in a pound-for-pound competitive advantage sense, Blair Oaks by far is the hardest.
They were put behind the 8 ball, I mean, because they're playing state-ranked team. Their conference just has them in state-ranked opponents that are classes above them.
They just happen to be the smallest team there. And for anyone who's confused by that, anyone who we got another fight in the comments section last week, Blue Spring South would turbo clock Blair Oaks and yacht.
First off, I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true.
I think Tyler Bax would like to have a word about that as well. But,
second off, even if that was true, it's pound for pound.
And I'm glad you did that to a Class 2 school. Like, and even then, I'm not sure how many Class 4 teams do. I'm not sure the percentage of Class 5 teams that do. And I'm Class 6 disparities from top to bottom are so large. I think that's the one thing that gets kind of glossed over with Class 6.
I mean,
because you have a lot of highs, but Class 6 probably has the deepest amount of lows.
You're looking at a Class 6 year that your top 2 Class 6 ranked teams might beat 3 and below by 3 possessions plus. I mean, you're looking at, I think, Blue Spring South is probably my number 3, maybe SLU number 3, and I think this week is going to be a perfect example. You're going to have CBC just go lay belt to SLU, and you're going to go, wow, the top 2 teams in Class 6 this year are that much better than the rest of Class 6, and that's really hard to rank.
Yeah, I mean, there's numerous Class 6 schools, whether it's some bottom feeder St. Louis schools, the Foxes of the world, the high schools in St. Louis, and then there's some of the Kickapoos who play in the Central Zone Conference. But there's a lot more winless teams in Class 6 than any other class. So, yeah, I mean, it's the disparity there. It also factors in, but to ranking those teams, because then how hard is it to be dominant?
Yep.
In that class, and that's hard to say. But then, like I said, I think we all agree that the most talented teams are in Class 6 too. So it's tough. That's why that state championship run is always so confusing. Because I remember St. Dominic last year being in a great spot, and they're state ranked again this year, and then Rockbridge just
Came out of nowhere.
I mean, they waxed them. Rockbridge just waxing St. Dominic last year.
Played in a better conference, and
right,
they came out and they got hot at the right time. That's Class 6 for you, because all those schools have athletes.
Yes.
And it just it just matters when they gel and when they come together and how that coaching staff has worked. But hey, great power rankings going into Week 8 of the high school football season in Missouri. In 2025, we have a couple huge games coming up this week. We have Webb City playing Carthage. We have SLU playing CBC. And those are some huge games coming up this week that could really dictate where teams end up on the power rankings. We have Blue Springs South playing Blue Springs. Could see some shakeups this week.
Yeah.
And I hope to see some crazy stuff happen. We love crazy football.
I think this is the week I think we're on fraud alert this week. I'll put it that way. I think Carthage has got a chip on their shoulder and something to prove with what they have left. I think Webb City kind of silences this narrative of them robbing a game against Republic. You wanna shut that up? Go beat Webb City.
I'll put the nail in the coffin.
CBC, you play easy teams, you this, that, and the other, you don't get respect. Go beat the crap out of SLU. The flip side of all those games is true though too. It has CBC benefited from this and these BS Max Preps computer generating rankings, or did Carthage steal a game? Kind of got lucky, and then districts they're kind of I mean we go down the list. Maryville plays a really tough Savannah team. Maryville beat Luther North. Is Luther North actually that good, or is the media hype behind Luther North kind of fake? Is Maryville great? Is Savannah, who hasn't really played anyone, are they that 7-0 team that should get some respect? Like, we got a lot of narratives that are going on here. I think Live for Life's got a lot to prove still. I think Helias has a lot to prove still. I think Blue Springs South has a lot to prove still.